on the live stream. So for everyone who is here, we are also streaming this concert to the YouTube and Facebook of the Francis Branch Library, so that lots of people who aren't able to come in person can still enjoy the music. And so we are so delighted to welcome you both to our physical living room and to our digital living room in one place. My name is Anna Hagen, and I am your harpist for today. And I am so glad to be back with you. So thank you to Francis Branch for inviting me to come back. You know you're doing something right when they have you more than once. Thank you. So we are here to celebrate some holidays on the harp. There are lots of comfy seats all around. If you want to come close, feel free. And pillows and soft things, so make yourselves comfortable. Just beware there are lots of cables on the floor, so don't trip if you're coming wandering around. That was a little bit of Carol of the Bells, or the Ukrainian Bell Carol, one of the classic Christmas numbers. And the harp has a very ringing, bell-like quality to it. In fact, the first time I played with an orchestra, I was about 11 years old, and I was playing with the youth orchestra. We played a very famous Christmas piece called Troika, and the whole part of the harp was to imitate this bell sound, just for 10 minutes. It was a long 10 minutes. But I loved that sound, so later, when I started doing more solo events and solo arrangements, I created my own version of Jingle Bells, but I borrowed some of that classical. So enjoy Jingle Bells with a little splice of Troika. Jingle bells are dashing through the snow. All right, I have a question for the audience. We don't have a lot of snow to dash through here, but how far did we travel to come to the Francis Branch? I live down in Goshen, Indiana, so it's a bit of a drive for me, not too bad. Let's see, do we have anyone who came more than half an hour to be here? And if you're watching us online and feel comfortable, leave a comment with where you're watching from. We'll see who traveled the farthest to come. But several of the songs I'm going to play you are Christmas carols that traveled quite a long way. So, harp is traditionally a very classical instrument, you know, symphonies and orchestra, Bach and Beethoven. And one of the most popular pieces for the harp is a Christmas orchestra piece by the great composer Tchaikovsky. This is from the Nutcracker Ballet, the Nutcracker Suite.
I'm going to the Nutcracker.
Oh, you're going to go see the Nutcracker. How fun. Well, here's a little sample that you can hear first. So when you see it live, you can keep your ears open. This is a very famous harp solo. Cadenza for harp from the Waltz of the Flowers from the Nutcrackers. Ooh. Thank you. Cadenza for harp from the Waltz of the Flowers. It's what harpists play when they want to show off a little bit. So that lovely segment, that lovely solo, part of that very classical harp tradition. But almost as soon as I started playing, I realized that although I love all of these classical songs, not a lot of other people recognize them, and I wanted to play songs that people remembered and recognized, that connected and made people remember their beautiful songs and what they meant. So I'm going to play you a couple favorite Christmas carols, starting off with Angels We Have Heard on High, because as a harpist, I get a lot of jokes about being an angel. You know why angels play the harp? It takes an angel to get 47 strings in tune.
Do you know Humpty Dumpty?
Do I know Humpty Dumpty? Ooh, we might have to play Humpty Dumpty in a minute. Now, when people think of the harp, they often think of this very old, classical, traditional instrument. And it is a very old instrument. In fact, it is the oldest instrument that we have record of. As far back as we have evidence of humans, we have evidence of flutes and harps. Or as it says in the book of Genesis, the flute and the harp are the beginning of, it's right in the very beginning of the story. And some of my favorite Christmas carols are really old sounding, old and minor. And one of my favorite angel carols is this traditional Basque carol. It's a medieval carol called The Angel Gabriel from Heaven Came. And it has this haunting minor sound to it that's just electrifying. So enjoy Gabriel's message, or The Angel Gabriel from Heaven Came. So that was a little of The Angel Gabriel from Heaven Came. Like I said, there are lots of associations with angels and harps, and I hope someday I get the angelic version of the harp, because let me tell you, this thing is not very aerodynamic. I do not get the whole flying with it. This thing weighs nearly 50 pounds, and my full-size harp weighs over 70. It's hard to get off the ground when I'm just lifting it, let alone flying. The other association that people will often mention is, oh, it's like King David playing the harp, so soothing. And all I can say is I hope for David's sake he had a smaller harp than this one. I mean, can you imagine hauling this after a flock of sheep? But while we have some angels, let's go ahead and invite some shepherds. This is a traditional American spiritual. Rise up, shepherds, and follow. up, shepherd, and follow. Haven't forgotten, haven't gotten there yet. So those are some traditional associations of the harp. But I'd like to expand it a little bit. Actually, let me introduce myself first. You've already heard my name is Anna Hagen. I've been playing the harp for, wow, 18 years now. That flew by fast. And I absolutely love it. But I was about 8 when I came to my parents and said, Mom, Dad, I want to play the harp. And they went, play piano. Actually, they made a bargain with me. They said, if you will play piano for 1 year, and we never have to remind you or nag you to practice, if you play and practice and stick to it, then in a year, we will think about letting you play the harp. So a year later, okay, Mom, okay, Dad, you didn't have to nag me about piano. Can I have a harp now? And I have been playing ever since. When people hear this story, they usually have a couple questions. The first one is, why? What made you want to play harp when you were 8 years old? And I knew I would play it in heaven. I thought I better get an early start. The other question people usually ask is, how long did it take you to learn? And that's also a really hard question. You see, I was amazing. I could play the very first time I sat down behind the harp. Do you want to hear what I could play? Okay, so I was not a prodigy. But I was making music, and as a 9-year-old, that was really exciting. So I kept playing, and I kept practicing, and the more I played, the better I sounded, and the better I sounded, the more I played, and the more I played, the better it's a good cycle to get into. It was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So let's just say that after 10 years of lessons and 18 years of playing, I play a little bit better. Thank you. But I am so grateful that my parents believed me at 8 years old and that I had the opportunity to keep playing. Because while, the harp sounds really good, even on Twinkle, Twinkle, there was definitely a learning curve. But at each stage, you keep practicing and you get better and better. But at each stage, I was also trying to do my best. The next carol I'd like to play you is a bit of an apocryphal story, but a wonderful carol, The Little Drummer Boy. And it's the story of a young musician who doesn't have any gifts to bring except his music. But I played my best for him. Parumpa-pum-pum. Now for this carol, I'm actually going to be making some drum effect noises. I'm going to be hitting on the soundboard of my harp to create some rhythm. Don't worry, I'm not breaking anything. I promise it is all part of the performance. did my best for him. Pum-pum-pum-pum. Me and my drum. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone again if you're just arriving or if you're just joining us on the live stream. So we are live streaming this concert on Facebook and on YouTube to the Francis Branch pages. So thank you so much if you're watching us on there as well. Leave us a like if it's coming through, if you could hear those drum rhythms through the microphones. Let us know that the sound equipment is all working. And leave us a comment. Do we have some people who've left some comments with where they've been listening from? Oh, they've traveled a lot and would travel a long ways to hear this music. Thank you, thank you. We are so glad you're joining us. And if you enjoy this concert, you can go and re-listen to it on the YouTube page and share it with all of your friends. It's a good strategy. Well, now that I've played you some variety of tunes, I want to play you something that's very sweet. When people look at the harp, there's a very particular sound that you think of. So this sound on a harp is called a glissando. Actually, now that you've met me, let me introduce you to my harp. Everyone, meet Jocelyn. Jocelyn, meet everyone. I name all of my harps, and I have 6 of them. Jocelyn is the one visiting today, and she is the one that specializes in that beautiful glissando sound. I didn't start on this size harp. I started on a Celtic harp that was quite a bit smaller. And then I have a very small harp that I use, that I wear on a strap, like you wear a guitar, so I can walk around and do therapy music or play outside. I have a really, really big one that only goes to the Symphony, because it is so big, I have trouble getting it out my front door. But this harp is the perfect medium size. It's the mama bear in the group. And it has a series of pedals at the bottom. So the strings of the harp are like the white keys on a piano. There's your basic C scale. But imagine trying to play anything more complicated than if you only had a C scale. You couldn't get very far. So on this harp, I have a series of pedals around the bottom. 7 pedals right here at the base. Each of those pedals runs to a series of rods up the front column, and then moving parts all along the neck, and then I press a pedal with my foot, and it pulls on a spring, and it pulls on a rod, and it pulls on all these moving parts, and changes the tone of the note. So when I press on a pedal, it pinches the string. It makes it just a little shorter. And when it's shorter, it's higher. And when it's longer, it's lower. And that's how I get all of those different sounds. But that really beautiful sound happens when I set the pedals so that several strings sound the same. So instead of getting a full scale, you're only getting the pretty parts. And this is the thing. This is the thing that harps are famous for. They're the thing they do better than any other instrument in the orchestra. So I'm going to play you a beautiful carol, Sweet Little Jesus Boy, another African-American spiritual, that uses several of these. given you a little introduction to the harp, does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask about this amazing instrument and all of its 1,500 moving parts and 47 strings? Yes, I do have calluses on my fingers.
Are all of your harps have the same amount of strings, or do you have more octaves? Or?
Do different sizes of harps have the same number of strings, or is it different for every one? Each one has a different number of strings. So this is my medium big harp, and it has about 42. My smallest harp has 26. So it's basically just this much of the big one. And my concert grand has 47. So they add on extensions on either end. So my smaller harp has a lot fewer octaves, not as many bass notes. It's a lot harder to play complicated classical or jazz, but it weighs 7 pounds and I can carry it on my back. There's definitely an advantage. Any other questions? Also, if you're watching us online, feel free to type into the comments and we'll be able to see any comments or questions that you have there. All right. Did you have a question? How often do I play? Well, I try and practice every day. And I play about 1 or 2 hours every day. Now, when I perform on average 10 to 20 times every month, and a lot more around Christmas. It's a very popular season. In fact, this is the 3rd event I'm doing today, so it is the season to make harp music. All right. Well, I've given you some traditional samples of classical harp and just playing it sort of by itself. But I actually have some extra toys with me today. You may notice I have my harp hooked into an amplifier, and between my harp and my amplifier, I have a little gadget called a loop pedal. And this is so much fun. It lets me record what I'm playing and then play it back on a loop. So I'll give you an example. Look, no hands! And by using a loop pedal, I can create a little bit of accompaniment for myself. So I'm an only child, and trust an only child to figure out a way to play duets without anybody else present. I've played several American carols, but I want to go on a bit of a tour of other international carols, starting off with the Huron Carol, or 'Twas in the Mood of Wintertime. This is a traditional French, Canadian First Nations carol. So the French missionaries brought the idea, and they met with the Native Americans, and they wrote this beautiful song, 'Twas in the Mood of Wintertime, using the traditional language, and then it was translated back into English. So if you hear it now, it's translated from the original language. And it has this wonderful rhythmic feel to it. So enjoy 'Twas in the Mood of Wintertime. in the moon of wintertime. While we're going a little outside of the USA, but still in the American continents, this is a Latin American carol, and I apologize for my Spanish. I think it's pronounced A la Nanita Nana, and it's this delightful lullaby with both Latin American and Spanish influences to it. Now, a lot of people don't know that the greatest concentrations of harps in the world is not actually in Europe or in Ireland. It's not actually in America. It's actually in Latin America, in South America. You see, the Spanish took the harp over when they went to South America, and it sort of became the popular folk instrument. Like we have banjos and mandolins, they have harps. So it's a very common folk sound. And here's a lovely folk Christmas carol, a traditional Latin American, A la Nanita Nana. Thank you. Are we enjoying these international carols? Yes? I really enjoy bringing in some of these international flavors to spice up the Christmas music sound. Tell me, do we have any comments that we...
I got some questions, actually.
All right. While we are in between songs, we're going to take some questions from the comments. So let's hear what people online are asking.
Yes, from Instagram is asking, what is your favorite harp to play?
Ooh, what is my favorite harp to play? The one I am playing at the moment. I will say that it is easiest to play this harp because it gives me the most options. It has a pickup so I can play with my loop pedal and amplifier. It has pedals so I can get the full range of sound. But my small one is really, really fun. Mostly just because I can lift it and go places. So if I want to go and play with friends or go play outside, that one's really, really fun. But the big one's really fun, and the Celtic one's fun. Yes. Great question.
One more then, which is how do you transport a harp?
how do I transport the harp? Very carefully. So if you stick around for the after show, you'll get to see me pack it up. I move my harps. Each one has a specially designed case that is a big, it looks like a big snow coat, just shaped for the harp. And then I have a set of dolly wheels that I strap it to a dolly and roll it. And it's a dolly designed originally for moving refrigerators. And there was a gentleman, his wife was a harpist, and she came to him and said, "Honey, I am sick of carrying this." And he goes, "I can fix that." So he created this refrigerator-style dolly for harps, and now they sell them to harpists. So I have a harp caddy, and I roll it out to my van, which I have a big SUV, and I lay all the seats flat, and I stick my harp in and the back in with all the seats laying out. So it is a process. Do you have a question, sir? Yes?
What kind of music you like?
What kind of music do I like?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's like the harps. I like the kind of music I'm playing at any given time. I really love, though, adding some surprising notes into the harp. So I was trained as a classical musician, Bach, Beethoven, Bach, and I loved it. But I really enjoyed when I started branching out and adding rhythm or adding effects or adding rock and roll, and people would go, what? On a harp? You're doing what? So that is really fun for me. I like adding in surprising elements. All right. Well, thank you so much for those questions. If you have any more, keep them coming. If you have any comments on what your favorite not traditional Christmas carol is, something international or something just off the beaten path, leave it in the comments. You never know, it might turn up in the next concert. But I was playing some international numbers, and I want to go and play you a very elegant Italian carol. This is called Gesù Bambino, and it's a beautiful lullaby. Now, as a harpist, there are great dangers and great responsibilities with the power wielded by the harp. I have to be really careful playing lullabies because people fall asleep all the time. People are always telling me how soothing the harp is, how relaxing, and trust me, I get it. Middle of the afternoon, comfy chairs, warm, cozy library. If you fall asleep, I understand. Actually, I don't really mind. All I ask is that if you fall asleep, please snore in rhythm. Enjoy Gesù Bambino. So these are some old, traditional, international carols. But I'm going to play you a bit more of a modern one. This piece is called White Winter Hymnal. And it's also going to use a little bit of loop pedal percussion, which is really fun. So this came out just a couple years ago. It's a pop song by Fleet Fox. And it tells the story of a mother following behind her toddler who's wandering out in the snow and just having so much fun making footprints in the white powder. So enjoy the White Winter Hymnal. Thank you. That was a little of White Winter Hymnal. So those are some fun effects that I've been adding now that I have all of this fun electronic gear. But before I was an electric harpist with loop pedals, I was an acoustic harpist, and I created all of my effects just with what I could do with my fingers. Now, after I'd been playing for a few years, people began asking, so when are you going to make a CD? I mean, it's lovely when you play, but then you leave, and we'd like to keep the music going. And I said, I don't know, that sounds like a lot of work. So eventually I made a CD of all hymns, and people said, great, now where's a Christmas CD? And I said, that was so much work, I never want to do that again. So 2 years later, I made a Christmas CD. And when I did CDs, I did all of my own creations, all my own arrangements of the carols, so that I would have copyright on them, but also so that I could get the sound and the effects that I want. And I took a poll among my friends and family and the people that I was playing for what carols they wanted. And a friend of mine said, you have to do In the Bleak Midwinter. This is just my favorite carol. You have to do In the Bleak Midwinter. So I found this wonderful song, and it's a beautiful, comparatively modern, like it's only about 150 years old instead of like 500-year-old Christmas carol. The lyrics are by the great poet Christina Rossetti, and the tune by the British composer Gustav Holst. But I took that idea and I created the feel of falling snow in one hand. So after we have White Winter Hymnal, let's do In the Bleak Midwinter and Snow Lay on the Ground. And it's this celebration of that even in the darkest, coldest, most miserable part of the year, that light came in the form of Jesus. So enjoy In the Bleak Midwinter. Thank you! In the Bleak Midwinter by Christina Rossetti and Gustav Holst. Well, welcome again to all the people who've come in since we've started, and welcome to anyone who's joining us again on the live streams. My name is Anna Hagen, and I am your harpist for the holidays. Since we're at an hour, let's go ahead and are there any more questions or comments before we go on? Feel free. I can't promise I can answer, but I will try. All right.
You play with the South Bend Symphony?
Do I play with the South Bend Symphony? No, I live down in Elkhart, so I play with the Elkhart Symphony. My teacher actually plays with the South Bend Symphony. Yes, so if you ever go to see the symphony, you'll get to see my amazing teacher, and she's wonderful. I just got to play with the symphony at our local, the Elkhart Symphony, we did Shaharazad, which has a really beautiful featured harp part. And it's, and then there's a big violin solo, and then more violin solo, and that's it. That's all I play in the entire thing. But my goodness, is it a big featured part for harp. It was really fun. All right. Well, if there aren't any questions, are there any requests for a favorite carol, a favorite Christmas song that you'd like to hear that I haven't played yet? Dashing through the snow, a little bit of Jingle Bells in a one-horse open sleigh, or the fields we go, laughing all the way. All right. Thank you. Well, around this season, I have a lot more opportunities to play Christmas concerts like this, and of course, there's a whole set of repertoire that is just like a month and a half long that I absolutely love these sparkling sounds. So for me, you might say that it is the most wonderful time of the year for making instrumental harp music. you. Are there any comments or requests from the stream?
Someone requests, can you play Silent Night?
Ooh, Silent Night. So we have a request from the stream. Do we have a name? Silent Night.
Forest Lake from Instagram.
Ooh, Forest Lake on Instagram. Thank you so much for the request. Silent Night, Holy Night. I will say that if you are enjoying this, you can take it home with you. My Christmas CDs are here and also online and on iTunes and all of the places that you get music nowadays. Thank you. A little Silent Night. Great choice. Great request. All right. Any other requests?
Did you play Silver Bells?
Silver Bells. Oh, what a lovely idea. Let me just slide down to the music for Silver Bells. choice. Thank you so much for asking for it. There are so many good Christmas carols. There's never enough time to play them all. So thank you so much for asking for that one. That is really fun. Well, I've played you a variety of American spiritual carols, or from Canada and from Latin America. And now I want to play you another American traditional one. This is an Appalachian carol, I Wonder as I Wander Out Under the Sky. And it has this gorgeous, haunting melody, full of that marveling sound, that wondering quality. I wonder as I wander. Thank you. I wonder as I wander out under the sky. I wonder why there's never enough time to play all of the music I want to play. But we're going to try and squeeze a few more carols in. So that is probably one of the older wondering carols, but there's another modern favorite that I get a lot of requests for, full of questions. Mary, did you know? Mary, did you know that your baby boy was the great I am? Actually, if anybody knew, it was Mary. She sings a whole song about it in the story. But it is a beautiful carol. Enjoy. Mary, did you know? let's check in one more time. Do we have any more comments on any of the feeds?
One last request.
Oh, go for it.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Baby, it's cold outside is a last request. Baby, it is very cold outside. I know, I carry harps around in it. You know, people sometimes ask me how the harp handles moving. Harps do not like cold weather. Of course, they don't really like hot weather either. And the sort of dry winter is really, really hard on the wood of a harp. But wet, damp, humid weather is also really, really bad. I'm telling you, hot, cold, wet, dry, I just need a place with no weather. No weather at all. That will be the place to play harp. For asking. -5. Nothing that bad down here in Indiana. All right, it has been such a pleasure to be back playing here at the beautiful Francis Branch Library. Thank you to everyone who is joining us online. When you get a chance, do come back because it is a wonderful library and a wonderful place to be. But I am especially grateful that they invited me to do a virtual concert that is able to be shared over and over again. This is a really fun, creative way to do it. I'd like to finish with a beautiful, have yourself a merry little Christmas. applause for our tech department. Thank you, Helen. Thank you again to the Francis Branch Library. My name again is Anna Hagen. It has been a pleasure to bring you Holidays on the Harp. If you have any other questions or requests, you can come up. I'm happy to answer them. I have CDs and business cards up here. Leave them in the comments and we'll come back and answer them later on the rewatch. And until the next time I see you in person, as the song wishes, or in the digital realm, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.